Hi, welcome to the latest RKMS podcast. John Keane here. I'm the Managing Director of RKMS. Today we're going to be talking about lean management and how we deliver our program. Lean management, in a nutshell, is basically looking at the way you operate and reducing waste in those operations. That waste may be in the form of excess movement of materials, goods, or even invoicing. For instance, it might get handled in a number of ways, which slows the process down, and that is what is called waste, anything that isn't adding value to the process. The way it benefits your business is that you strip out unnecessary tasks. You also, at the same time, look at that from a continuous improvement point of view or continuous improvement angle to make sure that what you're doing is the most effective way of doing it at the least possible effort, if you will. So what it does is it makes you leaner in terms of the cost, your activities and your efficiencies. That's a good question, Matt. I guess what you need to do really is you do what we call a waste walk. You would look at your activities and your operations and identify where there is opportunities for waste to be built into the process, i.e. Excess processing, excess checking, documentation, anything that doesn't add value to the process really. In the past, lean has been used as a tool to reduce workforces, and that isn't really the way that lean should be approached. The way that lean should be approached is you should be looking at building additional capacity. Therefore, you've got additional capacity to undertake jobs. For instance, the UK is generally seen as being 30% less productive than our counterparts, and that is a big worry for British industry. It's effective in virtually any sector. We've delivered this programme in the public sector where we've had some really good results. For instance, we worked with a local authority in the Northwest. It was a joint programme with the local authority and with the Housing Association. They were undertaking a £6 million project on bathroom refurbishment of social housing. And we found that after sort of 3 or 4 months into the project, they were already something in the region of £87,000 over budget. The quality was the satisfaction, should I say, rather than quality, was coming in at around about 63%. They had a lot of material that was work in progress each month. They was losing a number of items, should I say, and basically it was taking 18 days to refurbish a social housing bathroom from start to finish. We delivered a 6-month programme on the lean management course, and basically what happened there was they reduced that overspend to a deficit of £386,000 in 6 months. So they became very effective very quickly. The customer satisfaction rates went up to almost 100%, and the maximum period of time to install a new bathroom went from sort of 18 days to I think it was a maximum of 8 days in the end. It wasn't us that found those problems out, to be honest, and that's how our programme differs slightly. A lot of lean consultants will go into an organisation and produce a report and say this is what you could achieve. The way that we approach that really is we empower the people on the programme so that they can actually monitor and measure correctly and that they can report it back to the powers that be within the business. And we also, quite often, we do like to have a pretty spread and cross section of people within the business. So we might have somebody who's on the tools doing the job on the shop floor or in the residence housing, for instance, in this case. But we also need to make sure that we have senior management involved as well, because they can then see and understand when people are reporting to them where they've identified waste. And the difference is, rather than saying that piece of kit over there is a waste of time, it costs us, it's useless, it adds time to the job, they'll be able to come back and give them reasons why it adds time to the job, do a proper measurement analysis of it and say, look, if you spend X amount of money, the return on investment will be 3 months, 6 months, 3 years, but they'll be able to come with a reasoned discussion on why they need to invest in something. What we do differently is, at the outset of a programme, we make it quite clear that a big element of a programme is, as you as one of the learners or one of the people on the programme are going to present to us, and you're going to tell us what you've achieved, rather than us coming in and saying this is what you could achieve. What that does and what that entails is we will give you all the support, the tools, the techniques. We'll give you help with presentation skills so that you'll be able to do an effective report at the end that will persuade hearts and minds and get them to make real term improvement within the business. And once that's done, it becomes sustainable because those people have learned those skills and they can move it on to the next project. So it becomes a continual improvement cycle, which really any business should be looking to implement. Effectively, any business can undertake that. It works better when there are larger numbers. However, I think the smallest course that's been run was a company that was an events destination company, and they had 7 staff, and all 7 participated, and they identified, if I remember rightly, it was about £35,000 worth of improvements and efficiencies. That was really looking at the way that they scope out venues and events. They realised that they wouldn't necessarily have to go and visit that venue and spend time on the road visiting there, then time writing reports. But they realised that with the advent of technology that they could actually have the place videoed by the event host, if you will, and then that would reduce the amount of time that was taken to travel to them. It would also reduce the amount of time it took to generate a proposal from start to finish as well. So what that allowed them to do is free up more work and more capacity so that they could actually service clients and take on more clients, because they were at the point where they were turning business away because they didn't physically have the amount of time to be able to go out and scope these venues. So when they realised that we could do it remotely, then that freed up something like I think it's 200 hours a month in manpower, or personnel power, should I say, for them to be able to go out and scope different proposals. First of all, we like to speak with the senior management and the guys and the people that are on the shop floor or at the coalface. The reason for that is we need to get an understanding of what the management perceive as being issues and what the workers perceive as being issues. Because quite often it's a case of it's them in their ivory towers haven't got a clue what goes on, and the people in the ivory towers are looking down saying they don't know how to make decisions. So what we tend to do is, first of all, we find common ground. Once we found that common ground, but there'll always be something in every business that the management and the guys on the shop floor will agree is an issue. And then we say, right, that's where we're going to focus our efforts. The programme is, in an ideal world, it would be undertaken on a 6-month project. So we would do the senior management module where we speak with the senior management and we speak with the guys on the shop floor, the coalface, identify an improvement project. We would then go through a series of modules. The first module would really be to identify what lean management is, so we get a bit of an understanding. Cover some of the modules in there, cover things like waste analysis and various other tools and techniques. The second one would be looking at problem solving tools and techniques. So if we've identified a problem, how do we solve that using known, tried, tested methods such as YY, Ishikawa, or cause and effect diagrams. It might be SIPOC, looking at the inputs and outputs that form part of a customer journey, if you will. And there are various tools and techniques. And what we would do is we would tailor it around the nature of the issues that's been discovered, so that we're making sure we're using the right tools and techniques. From that, we would then deliver what we call a simulation. Although the awarding bodies say that we can't use the term simulation, so what we do is we do a workplace practical, where we would basically sit down and look at a problem, generate it, and then apply some of the tools and techniques in a theoretical way rather than actually doing it on a live project. We then have a unit in measurement and monitoring, so that way we can actually identify what the key point indicators are, what analysis and data is needed. And again, that's specific to the project. We will talk about a broader use of visual display, visual information. However, we kind of make it bespoke to each individual client and their actual projects. We then have a module where we talk about projects and reporting, where we give a bit of support to the guys so that they can deliver that. What we do is, in between each one of those modules, we have a consultant that goes in and works with them, with the team, to make sure they're on the right track and giving them guidance and pointers and making sure they're capturing the information so that it can be relayed back. And then the final bit is when they present to us and they tell us about the tools and techniques that were used, what the problem was that they'd identified, what the improvement project was, what the barriers were to that, how they overcame the barriers, what the results have achieved from that, and more importantly, what's the next project that they're embarking on and what improvements are they looking to make next. It is very, very much hands-on. We do take the learners out of the workplace one day a month during this, and that one day a month will be to deliver a workshop, deliver sort of tools and techniques. We'll leave them with workbooks that we need to complete as well. But in between that, we're supporting them on site with to make sure that they're achieving what they're looking to achieve. The average saving, well, this programme has been delivered for the last 20 years, not just by RKMS, but the guys that we've used have been delivering this. And most of it has been delivered through ERDF funding, which is a European Regional Development Fund. And part of that is you need to capture what the GVA is, or the gross value added. So for every pound that's spent, the government wants to know what the return is. And so, for instance, on this programme, the sort of return on it has been an average, based on over 1,000 companies that have now been on the project, is over £100 million. Therefore, it's an average of £100,000 per business. Now, there are large manufacturers that have been on there that have maybe saved £3.8 million, and there may be other organisations that are a lot smaller that may have saved £35,000. There may be some that have only saved £20,000, but every project that's been run through those 1,000 companies has saved far in excess of any money that they've spent on actually attending the programme. There is funding available. The way that we deliver this is we don't like using the term apprentice. The reason for that is that the majority of people we work with are mature students, if you will. We work business to business. So we're not employing what people typically perceive as being an apprentice, which is somebody who's 16 to 19 years old. I think we've only ever had one person who is 19. I think that's the youngest person we've had on this programme. The oldest has been 67 years of age, so calling somebody who's 67 an apprentice kind of doesn't sit well with them. But it's important also that when we're delivering this improvement programme, that we've got people that have had experience within business as well, and particularly within the business that they're working on the project, because they understand the process. No, the way that it works is we hold a government contract with the Education and Skills Funding Agency, which allows us to deliver what we call apprenticeships. Now, depending on the nature and scale of the size of your business, you will pay either 5% of the overall fee, or you'll pay nothing. So, for instance, if you are a large employer and you have a payroll bill, a wage bill of more than £3 million a year, then you are automatically enrolled in what the government call the apprenticeship levy programme, which means you're paying 0.5% of your payroll every month into a pot, which you can use and access for training. And if you've got the funding available there, then that will fully fund your apprenticeships or fully fund the people on the programme. If you are a smaller organisation than that and don't have a payroll of £3 million, then you will not be a levy-paying employer. You will be what's known as a non-levy employer. And what that means is that you will pay a maximum of 5% of the funding towards it. And there are sort of, in some areas, depending on the level of social deprivation or on the age group of the people that are on the programme, there may be incentives for you as a company to take that person on. However, we tend to work business to business with people that are already employed. But if you do have somebody who's sort of 17-year-old that you want to put on the programme, then there are government funding of between £1,000 and £1,500 per person. So you might pay 5% of the overall cost, which may be £300, but you might be able to claim £1,500 back per person as well. We're effectively the college, so we will come into your workplace and work with you one day a month, delivering the theory of it, and then the next month we will come and help you support and implement what you've learnt during the modules. No, you can have multiple people and multiple programs running. You can also go on to a higher level apprenticeship as well, or higher level qualification, should I say. So you might start off and do a level 2 lean manufacturing operative, and then it may be that you want to do a level 4 improvement practitioner qualification, which is a bit higher level. So it's a little bit more technical, it's a little bit more academic, but that is a stepping stone that you can use from the first programme. Oh, the beauty of the improvement qualifications is that they are fully transferable. Many years ago, in my own career, I've been made redundant a few times, and I looked at it and I thought, what skills do I need to have that is transferable for exactly that reason? And I looked at doing quality management, which is quality lean management's a very small part of overall quality management. So quality management is transferable into whatever business. The tools and techniques that you're using, the YY, for instance, it's a very, very simple tool. If you're a parent and you're driving down the road and you've got your children in the back of the car asking you, why do you do this? You give them an explanation and they ask why again. And at the end of it, by about the fourth or fifth time, you either tell them to shut up or you tell them the answer. If you want to get in touch with us and find out some more, we have a telephone number which is local rate, which is 0300 373 0128. Or you can send an email to info@rkmsuk.co.uk. Or you can always visit our website where there's more information on there, which is www.rkmsuk.co.uk.